Shalom Aleichem wa Assalamu Alaikum. Peace and blessings to all people. I intended to make a response to those who asked me why I did not become Muslim in a much more professional, I don't know, in a much more organized manner. But it seems that I can't quite find the time, so in the meantime, this will have to do. Right on the spot, alright, no planning. Why I did not become Muslim? Well, first I must say what I mean when I say that I did not choose to join the Islamic religion. Many Muslims will say that Islam is the original religion and the only religion that has ever been a valid religion, and that all of the previous prophets, even before Muhammad, were all Muslims. When one will disagree with this, they will say that Islam means surrender to the Almighty, referring to submission to His will. Now, if that is the intended meaning of this word, when you say that they were Muslims, then how can I say that I am not a Muslim and Islam is not my religion? In that case, obviously my intention is to be a Muslim, and the religion which I desire to keep and hold and hope that the Almighty will always preserve me in is the religion of Islam, submission to the Creator. But the fact is that this is not really what most Muslims mean when they say Islam or Muslim, at least those who I have encountered. There are individuals who do take it this way consistently. So, having that in mind, it does not pertain to the topic when one will object to me by saying, but this was the religion of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Noah, etc. Because when they say Islam, they are referring to specific form of religion of submission to the will of the Creator, as codified only after the life of Muhammad. And the Quran itself testifies to this. No, I'm not going to try to use the Quran to bash Muslims or to strengthen my own points. I'm going to say something which I presume most Muslims are aware. In the Quran itself, it speaks of how certain laws which were given to the Israelites by the Almighty, and acknowledging that these laws were given to the Israelites by the Almighty, at the same time goes on to say that the followers of Muhammad, who he turned from idolatry to surrender to the one Creator, that these laws are not binding on them. Now, what does this have to do with what I'm saying? You can take this in more than one way. You can take it to mean that Muhammad was simply stating that the Arab peoples in his area are not obligated to observe all the commandments which were given especially to the people of Israel, without meaning that these commandments are no longer applicable to the people of Israel. Basically, this would be the same as what the people of Israel themselves have historically taught all along, that only those born into the people of Israel and those who voluntarily choose to take these commandments upon themselves, only such people are obligated in all 613 commandments of the Torah as one nation. And other individuals are obligated in a minimum number of commandments, the 7 laws of Noah, in addition to the proper path in which to serve the Almighty, which is basic monotheism. If they find this too simple or basic for them, they can voluntarily take upon themselves specific commandments of the Torah without becoming full members of the people of Israel if they do not choose to do so. But the other way you can take these places in the Quran where there's an apparent difference between Allah's giving of the commandments to the Israelites and now His instruction via Muhammad to the Arabs in his location. The other way you can take that is that he was usurping the commandments given to the people of Israel originally and basically saying that that is no longer applicable to anybody, not to the Israelites, not to non-Israelites. Makes no difference. Now is a brand new religion, which is different from what was previously in existence. Whichever way you want to look at it, it is clear that the form of devotion established after Muhammad's lifetime is in some ways different from that which was originally given. Now, there are those who have told me that this is true. They acknowledge this. I haven't had so many conversations, but I've had a few. But those who acknowledge this said that, one, they took the view that Muhammad's teaching actually replaced the commandments given to the Israelites, without denying that different commandments were given to the Israelites. But he justified it by saying that times changed, and therefore the Almighty sort of updated his instruction, besides the fact that he considered it corrupted. But if it were really only an issue of the Torah being corrupted, Allah could clearly just restore that which had been corrupted. So that's not really the main issue here. Besides the fact that that has no basis. We'll get to that later, hopefully. Besides the fact that there's no basis for claiming that the Torah has been corrupted and is now therefore unreliable. So this guy, a few people, they actually said that that's not really the issue, that the issue is that times have changed. The Torah, the special commandments for the Israelites, were for a specific time, and now Allah has given the Quran. Well, if this is the case, then how do we know that another prophet comes along and he establishes another type of religion in the context of absolute monotheism, alright? How do we know that this will be valid? He can just say that Muhammad was also a prophet, the Quran is true, but it was only given for a certain amount of time. In my mind, this is not very consistent and not very dependable way of thinking, because in this way you could have an endless line of different prophets coming, each one replacing the previous one, and each one claiming that the previous one's teaching were corrupted or whatever, whether or not that's the case. And regardless of that the times changed and you need new commandments. All, of course, in the context of proper monotheism. I am not denying here that Muhammad taught contrary to the fundamentals of the historical faith of the people of Israel. Rav Avraham bin Rambam, the son of Rambam Maimonides, himself said that the fundamentals of Islam, at least as taught in his time period, in his area, were the same as the fundamentals of the historical faith of the people of Israel. Now, for me personally, aside from this issue that I just covered, that the idea that the world needed to be updated in its instruction from the Almighty, and therefore the Quran was given, besides that, that's not so reasonable to me. And that is independent from the question of whether or not the Quran is a revelation of the Almighty, because it could be, you can have a revelation of the Creator and Prophet without replacing the Torah, as we see there are many prophets in the Tanakh, in the Old Testament. But besides this, well, if Muhammad was able to be used as a messenger by which Allah could give a full instruction forever, an everlasting instruction which would not be needed to be changed or updated in the future, he could certainly have done the same in his first divine revelation given before an entire people and not just by one man. And the Almighty is far above the concepts of time and change, things which only apply to created things, far below his transcendent and unimaginable exaltedness. So the other thing about the corruption of the Torah, this I just see is silly for one who has gone beyond the different types of English translations or translations of the Bible into any other particular language. If you're going to claim that the Torah is corrupt and therefore it needs to be replaced because of different types of translations, well, you have the same thing with any book, including the Quran. And you should note that despite the variance in translation.